Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. I'm Garrett.
And I'm Kevin.
The Movie Club is the show where we pick a movie every week, just like a book club, and talk about it. On today's show, we're covering the sci-fi animated film WALL-E. So our thoughts coming up on Movie Club. Released in 2008, WALL-E was directed by Andrew Stanton and stars Ben Burt, Alyssa Knight, and Jeff Garlin. In the distant future, a small waste-collecting robot inadvertently embarks on a space journey that will ultimately decide the fate of mankind. It is currently ranked 59 on IMDb's Top 250 and currently has 4.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It won 1 Oscar for Best Animated Feature. It was nominated for 5 more, including Best Sound Mixing, Best Original Song, Best Original Score, and Best Original Screenplay. Before we dive into our thoughts, though, we do want to issue a spoiler warning. We will be discussing plot points, twists, revelations, and so much more here on the show. If you haven't seen the film yet, we'd recommend going and pausing the video. You won't offend us, it's fine. Go watch the film, and then come back and we can talk about it. Stay tuned to the end of the show to figure out what movie we're going next week, so you can watch it before the show comes out. Alrighty, Kevin, this was your pick this week. What led you to pick WALL-E?
I just love this movie. That's why. I can sit down, watch this, or sit down and not watch it and know everything that happens in it, because that's how much I've watched it in the past years and stuff like that. It's just a cute film about a serious situation.
That's 100% right. WALL-E is a fantastic movie. Do we really even need to do an episode about it? No, I'm just kidding. I saw this movie in theaters, fell in love with it then, and have been touting this movie ever since it came out. Not going to spoil my thoughts just yet, but I still think that this is Pixar's best film to date. So that'll kind of at least set a tone for whatever we're talking about next.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so Kevin, where do you even want to start with this movie? There's so much good about it. Where are we starting this journey?
Let's start about how they take a bad situation and put it into a kids movie.
100%.
The world is gone, kids, and you're in space now, and you're fat. So, it literally is the best thing ever, because it's like, I look at it now, I'm like, yeah, I would do that. I would sit in my chair all day and just play video games and just get obese over time, not caring about anything. And the way they explain it too, it's like, oh, we gave them chairs and just to help them move around, and now they don't get out of it. Yeah, because you gave them the chair that can do everything. So it's just so fun to see adult humor in kids movies, but it's also funny for kids at the same time.
Yeah, kids are going to laugh at the characters. Adults are going to be cautiously optimistic, because we could all see this happen. But it's like humanity evolves to whatever situation it's being put into. If it's lounging around in chairs all day, and being given liquid food, they don't even go into how the body has adjusted to just liquid food and no solids, which would be catastrophic, I feel, for your digestive system. Mm-hmm. But also, it doesn't evolve over that long a period. It's really not that long from the time humanity leaves to when this movie takes place.
Yeah, and then it's funny how when I first saw this movie, I thought it was going to be based on characters that are human and not based on the robots of the movie. But you couldn't have gone it any other way, because the robots, even though they don't complete full sentences and stuff like that, you totally can understand them by the way that they turn, move, and the animation in this is just fantastic, because it gives off that life to a cartoon pretty much.
In many ways, the robots have more character than the humans do.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And let's not even gloss over the fact that the first act, maybe a little bit more than that of this movie, is silent for the most part. There is no real dialogue in not a kids movie, in a family kind of targeted film that anyone can enjoy. they're showing kids, in families, like, no, you don't have to always have dialogue to tell a really damn good story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just brilliant. And having, and Wally is just such an endearing character on his own. I mean, from animation to the way he treats his little cockroach buddy, like,
so funny.
he's a fantastic character. And then obviously we meet Eve as well, and just from there, I really can't think of a character I don't like in this movie. Like,
No, they all have purpose and they all have their own personality. And like you said, the robots are more human than the humans are in this movie. But that's what makes it a great movie. You don't want to overshadow your main character, Wally and Eve, with humans, because that's not the premise of the story.
Yeah.
So, and they could have messed up at the beginning by having Wally talk or something, but the animators made so many good decisions on showing you and not telling you, which I always like, because I'm more of a visual learner. I'm not a hearing learner. So I see stuff and I understand it a lot better. And then him trying to find somebody to hold his hand and stuff like that in that little movie and stuff like that, those little things get picked up, and they don't go to waste.
Yeah, it's fantastic how they're able to get such a metallic character to emote so much like a human, that you kind of suspend all disbelief. Even Eve, who's arguably more rigid than Wally is and less moving parts, still able to emote very well. And let's not even gloss over the fact that their romance in this movie is very cute. There's romantic films that do not have nearly as good a connection as these two do.
No, we have chemistry. An old rust bucket and a new technology person. That's what this movie is.
I mean, I don't think robots see age.
No, but they can see the rust on Wally. So,
oh sure, but again, it's such the only romance that I think Pixar's ever gotten close to it was with Elemental recently. But even then, Wally and Eve is still the way that it's shot, the way that they're able to talk without words is brilliant. And and their space waltz when they're dancing in space with the fire extinguisher is a perfect scene. It is so good, music wise, visuals, just top.
And when I went to see this in theaters, I think with my family, the kids were laughing at that scene, and my mom was over there gawing over it because it was just so lovey-dovey, but the kids were having fun with it because the fire extinguisher part.
Yeah, it is fun.
That's so much fun, but now looking back at it, you could watch this as a kid, watch it now, and you're like, oh, this is a totally different premise, but you still get the little kid funny parts in this movie that still bring you back to your childhood.
Exactly. You also watch it now, you see a couple of things that we missed when we were younger. The ship's computer literally just being Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey. But also, especially now, this movie came out in 2008. So we're 15-year anniversary this year. And yet the message that people can't get the hell off their device is still present and is getting worse. This is so unrelated, but earlier today I saw someone's TikTok, not a TikTok, it was a YouTube short of people sitting around at a movie night at their friend's house, and they're all on their phones while watching a movie. They're not even watching the movie.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, get off your phone. Sorry.
Yeah,
I had to get off. For a minute.
No, it's a movie. You're supposed to be there with their friends. It's even when I watch movies with Nadia, even though we've seen it, she's been watching all the Halloween movies, we sit there and watch it because that's what we're there for.
It's the point of the fucking thing, to watch the movie.
Exactly.
Anyhow, side tangent aside,
rant out of the way.
This movie is prophetic. It literally just people will not get off their devices. So seeing that 15 years ago, when the iPhone just came out, is nuts to me.
Yeah, and I love when everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so far in the future," and then they're glued to their screens of their phones. It's It's not that far now.
It's more like today. If we had to leave this planet today, it's probably what would end up happening.
Yeah, exactly. But there's just a lot of other funny moments in this that
Mhm.
aren't necessarily I don't want to say scripted, but like all the other disabled robots join Wally because they want to help Wally out and stuff because he's that likable character in this movie. There's
Yeah.
nothing, even though he messes up, which is really cool that they don't um have him be the good guy throughout the whole thing and does everything perfectly. He messes up, and Eve is there to tell him that he messes up, and he tries to get Eve back on track and stuff like that, saying like, "Oh, it's just a mess up was one time" and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much character development in the short time span of this movie that it really is fantastic. I mean, that's why we go back to it, is ultimately for these characters and the situations they go through.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things that's very clear that needs to be discussed is how good we've talked about how good the animation is for like the movement of characters and the expressiveness of characters, but damn, this movie still looks good 15 years later.
Mm-hmm.
They make the world they make the apocalypse look gorgeous.
Oh yeah, they make Earth, Doomsday Earth, look pretty cool with all those trash skyscrapers and everything, and even like we were talking about the waltz scene in space, the little particles coming out off of the fire extinguisher that just float there because it's space, it doesn't go anywhere, so it just keeps floating behind them and stuff like that, and then there's also little tensions in the animation when Wally gives Eve the plant, and then she goes into hibernation mode pretty much, waiting for the rocket ship to come back, and then they're doing procedures on her and stuff like that to get it out. So the animation shows tension, happiness, sadness, stuff like that throughout this whole movie, and it does it in such a good way that you can understand it without talking.
And the environment mirrors that, right? Like, and it heightens it. And I think the word that I was looking for is texture. This movie has tangible texture to it. Like, you're looking at the trash cubes. I feel like I could reach out and touch those, right? You're looking at like the rust and the dirt and the clouds that are just in the sky, and they look great. But then you get to the spaceship, and it's just a complete 180. You're getting clean textures, like those whites and blacks that are really crisp and reflective. Like, you go from Mad Max to Star Trek in like less than 5 minutes, and it's jolting, but it's supposed to be.
And then at the end of the movie, where it mixes together the dirty and the clean, with the nice spaceship coming down to dirty Earth, pretty much, and it's like a joint. They join back forces together or something like that. But yeah, the animation in this is just, I mean, it's flawless. I would say like this is one of the best looking. This is a Pixar movie, right? I don't want to get that wrong.
Pixar movie.
Okay. The one of the best looking Pixar movies that has come out, period. I feel like
it definitely held that title for a while, and I feel like for me, Soul was just really pretty as well. Kind of similar. It has two different kind of sides to it, but maybe that's an episode for another day. But yeah, it's gorgeous. And speaking of coming down, I will never not have my heart torn in knots when Wally gets crushed.
Oh no! Oh, you kidding me? My heart sinks a little bit, even though how many times have I watched this? I'm like, I know it's gonna be okay,
and you
it's like
feel it. It's yeah. And the scream that Eve lets out is it's haunting, and it's in a kids movie. Yeah. Arguably, it's a kids family movie, right? Like, it shouldn't have something that kind of close to reality in it. I don't know, but it's fantastic. But
then the way he gets rebuilt pretty much by Eve getting all of his parts back together, but then he doesn't become Wally right away, which I liked too, because he's still a robot. You put me back together. He doesn't know he's Wally. He's just a robot cleaning up trash now. And then Eve had to show him how to be himself again, which is really cool. And then the eye twitching when he puts in his new eyes and stuff like that. Oh, it's the little details where it just goes eat, 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 and then back to normal. It's like, okay, he's fixed now.
This entire movie's full of little details, and it's fantastic. And all of that kind of bleeds together into kind of this last kind of major thing that I want to say, which is like, you know, it is a Disney movie, it's a Pixar movie, but to speak of its quality, it is the only, in I don't know how long it's been around, but it is the only Disney movie in the Criterion Collection, which should speak to its quality and why it earns a place there, 100%. So it's just fascinating every time I see because the Criterion Collection Blu-ray of WALL-E is gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
and I do want to get it
eventually. Yeah, it's very cool. And yeah, like you're saying, how Criterion just doesn't pick up random movies. It's like it has to. It's a Criterion. It's a boutique label that's like, oh yeah, we saw this movie, I think it deserves it, pretty much. So you're not going to be seeing, well, can't say not, but you won't be seeing like Snow White every single year that comes out on 4K and stuff like that. It's like, okay, we choose this one, and then this one, and then that's it.
Yeah, the movies that make it in are very specific, either they're historic or there's just something about them that gets you in there.
Yep.
All right, Kevin, so this was your pick, so I guess I'll go ahead and jump into my scores first. I think this movie is incredible. It is, to date, I would actually say it's tied with Soul for my favorite Pixar movie, but for the longest time, it was my favorite Pixar movie, and I think it's very nearly flawless. I mean, there's always things that I can nitpick. They're not even worth bringing up on the show. So on Letterboxd, I ended up giving a movie a 4.5 out of 5 and giving it a 99 out of 100. Again, I think this movie's near perfect, which is like shocking, but I think it is really that good.
Yeah. Yeah, I gave mine 5 stars out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, and I gave it 100 out of 100. Put this on all day, any day in the background, me sitting down watching it, me listening to it in the car, something like that. It's just going to be a good time, even though I know what's going on the entire time.
Yeah, 100%. Can easily see why you'd say that. All right, so the question now falls to you. What do you think of WALL-E? Make sure to leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comment section down below, but make sure to be respectful of one another. We'll be watching. Next week, we are covering the classic thriller drama, M. So make sure to watch the film before next week so you're not spoiled. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to us here on YouTube and follow us at Real Watchers everywhere on social media. Again, thank you for helping us to get to 100 subscribers, this awesome goal, this milestone that we've hit. Here's to bigger and better things. And until next time, keep your eyes on the screen.